Okay, we're recording. Let me pin my video. All right, here we go. All right, guys, well, welcome to the Tribe 100 training. Today, we're going to jump in and we're going to be talking about copy that converts. For those of you who are just jumping in, I apologize if there's an echo on the room. These headsets here, they don't have a microphone on them. They're just headsets. And so I'm using the computer mic, and it's a big room, so it's a little spacey. We're quarantined out of our video studio right now for a few more days while they take care of a mold issue. And so I'd rather be loud and echoey than dead. So that's always a good thing. But I want to talk with you today about copy that converts, because in the end, when you have a funnel, your funnel is going to rise and fall based upon the copy. If you have a Facebook ad, okay, your Facebook ad is going to rise and fall based upon the copy. If you have a messenger bot, your messenger bot is going to rise and fall based upon the copy. If you have a video, a VSL, your VSL is going to rise and fall based upon the copy. Copy is the single most important concept of any marketing tool that you have. Your design can be flawless, but if your copy sucks, the bad copy will trump the great design every time, okay? And so copy is where it's at. So what I want to do today, I'm not going to give us an overall picture of, like an entire deep dive on how to write copy that converts. But what I want to do is I want to talk with you about some copy that you have to have, that if you don't have it, it will not convert, okay? And mainly that's going to be in the form of what we call a persuasion statement. So Russell Brunson says that if your funnel doesn't work, there's only three things that can be off, right? Your hook, your story, your offer, okay? Your hook, your story, your offer. Your hook, your story, your offer. All three of those, hook, story, offer, are copy, okay? But you may be saying, well, Chad, do I have to be an incredible copywriter in order for me to be able to write good copy? And the answer is no, you don't. You just have to understand some psychological principles of persuasion, okay? And they're really, really, really simple. In fact, they're so simple that you do these every single day in your everyday life. For instance, someone was here just a while ago, I wanted an egg, and I simply asked the question, hey, do you think you can make me some eggs? And the answer was yes, right? The answer was yes. So that was copy that converted. I wanted an egg, I said something, and it converted me to some eggs, right? That's marketing 101. Now, let's talk a little bit about what made that copy so powerful in the first place, okay? What made it so powerful was, first and foremost, there was a relationship between me and the person that I was giving a request to. There was a relationship there, okay? It wasn't just some stranger, it was a relationship. And because there was a relationship at the foundation of the request, the chances of the request being answered in the affirmative was much higher. Why? Because we have a relationship. So good copy that converts at the forefront, understands the necessity to either have, create, or expand a relationship. Does that make sense? So copy that converts understands the first principle of copy that converts is it's more powerful if it's built upon a relationship. So great copy and great funnel streams, first and foremost, endeavor to build, or excuse me, to create, to build, or to expand a relationship, okay? Hey, do you think you can make me some eggs? 2 minutes later, eggs appear. That copy converted. Why? Because it stood upon a relationship. So when you talk about copy, we talk a lot about do we build funnels and drive traffic to cold copy, to cold audiences, and then we wonder why they don't convert very well. The reason is because that copy is designed to sell something as opposed to designed to build a relationship. So when you're going to cold audiences, you have to do something to build a relationship. Now let's talk a little bit about that. Relationships don't have to be these long, drawn out scenarios that take forever to build. In fact, it was just a few years ago when I was in Paris. Okay, sometime I'll tell you about the one and only time I ever got arrested. It was in Paris, right in front of the Notre Dame Cathedral. Really funny story, but that's a whole other story in and of itself. But in line to the Notre Dame Cathedral, I was standing there. I had about a 2-hour queue to get in. And I started talking to this guy and gal right behind me. And come to find out, we're in Paris, and come to find out the guy lived in Los Angeles. And at the time, I lived in Los Angeles. And the guy lived in a little suburb called Glendora, and I lived in a little suburb called Covina. He lived on Azusa Street, and I lived on Azusa Street. And come to find out, we were a grand total of 2.5 miles apart from each other, and we lived on the same street. Okay? How long do you think that took us to build some kind of relationship? No time whatsoever. So you can build a relationship quickly with somebody if you find a commonality. So write that down. Relationships that are built quickly are ones that find commonality between the two parties. Okay? And if you find commonality between the two parties, you can build a relationship instantaneously. This is why if you were to go to, like, you know, I'm a Colts fan. And if I was to go to a Cardinals game in Phoenix, okay, and somebody else has a Peyton Manning jersey on, and I have a Peyton Manning jersey on, we see each other, we instantly build a relationship with each other. Why? Because we have a commonality. So copy that converts understands that it converts best when it's built, or when it's created, built, or expanded upon a relationship. And the quickest way to build a relationship is by finding commonality. Finding something that both you and them have in common. One of the big fatal flaws to copy is we miss out on the golden opportunity to find commonality with our prospective client. So for instance, if you're doing cold audience, if you're going to meet cold traffic, so to speak, and you just go and say, excuse me, if you just go and say, let's think of a really bad way to do this. If you went and said something like, come join my event this Saturday at 7 p.m. and learn how to make, $1 million before you leave the weekend. Is that good copy or is that bad copy? Well, it's bad copy because even though the result is probably something that we want, there is no commonality. You didn't tell me what it's for. You didn't tell me who it's for. Am I the right person? Am I not the right person? And the chances of me taking a risk of going down there to, the Elks Club to find out whether this little person that I don't know is going to help me become a millionaire in the next 45 minutes is probably slim to none. So therefore, that's a bad copy. Okay, it's a bad copy. The reason is I didn't take time to find commonality. But let's say that I started this way. Okay, let's say that I said something like, I've been training realtors for the last 12 years. Okay, and one thing I know about all realtors is you work hard, you desire freedom, and you're persistent. Okay, but realtors get a bad rap. People think that we're lazy because we try to make $20,000, $30,000 and only work 15 to 20 hours for that one deal. Realtors get a bad rap because many times they think that we're in real estate because we can't get a job doing anything else. Realtors get a bad rap because, they say that we're just in it for the money. Now, what did I just do in that copy? Why is that good copy as opposed to other stuff? The reason why that's good copy is because I took the time to build commonality in my content right at the beginning. So I built commonality in the fact that we're realtors, and I've been coaching realtors for so many years. I built commonality in realtors get a bad rap because realtors feel like they get a bad rap. And I talked about 2 or 3 ways that realtors get a bad rap. Now what I'm doing is I'm building commonality with me and the person. Does that make sense? So now that I have commonality with them, I've built a relationship. I can go on and tell them something and sell them something later on. Why? Because I've done commonality right at the beginning. Copy that converts. If you miss out on the opportunity to find commonality with your prospective audience, then it will not convert. So when we talk about cold audience versus warm audience, you can move somebody from cold to warm very quickly if you find commonality in what you're doing. If you and finding commonality is more than just calling somebody out. So finding commonality is not saying, hey, Ravens fans, right? That's not commonality. Okay. Commonality is when you're a Ravens fan and they're a Ravens fan, and you are stuck in the middle of Raider country. That's commonality, right? So copy, when you're writing your copy, like for instance, I'm a coach, right? So I'm a business coach. So if I wanted to write to other business coaches, I'm going to find something that we both celebrate or we both mourn. Okay, so for instance, so let's say that we celebrate creating a $25,000 product and selling 5 of them over the last 30 days. Okay, so say we're going to celebrate that. So I could say something like, you know, hey coaches, I never thought I could be a 6-figure coach until I learned this one principle. And in the last 5 weeks, I was able to sell 5 $25,000 products. So many of you guys are already doing that, and I'm glad to join the club, right? Commonality. Does that make sense? I'm glad. So that's commonality. So as you write your copy, if you're going to get it to convert, it's got to have commonality, and you have to understand that it's got to be created, built, and expanded upon a relationship, because relationships convert and commonality convert. Does that make sense? Okay. The third point. So the first point is relationship. Second point is commonality. The third point then is what we call direction. Okay, we got to be going in the right direction. So in other words, we're going toward the same target. Okay, so for instance, if I'm writing to realtors, okay, and I find commonality with realtors, we have the same frustration or whatever, then what I have to do is I have to point them in the right direction. Okay, I have to point them in the right direction. So for instance, so let's say that realtors, let's say their biggest struggle is let's say that I tell them, hey, realtors, I've been privileged to coach realtors the last 12 years. And let's face it, realtors get a bad rap. They tell us that we're gold diggers because we want to make a ton of money without working hard. They tell us that, we're only in real estate because we couldn't get a job anywhere else. And they tell us that we're only a realtor because whatever, blah, blah. But you and I both know that's not true. You and I both know that realtors, in addition to having incredible work ethics, we have huge hearts. We really care about our clients and our customers. And the reason why we're in this is because our dream is to help others find the American dream. But you do have a problem. So now watch. So now I've now built a relationship, we found commonality, and now I'm going to twist them to direction. But you do have a problem. The problem is not your lack of leads. Your problem is your lack of qualified leads. You got into real estate thinking that you were going to be living the American dream, and little did you know that you were going to become a glorified telemarketer. Many of you spend hours and hours on the phone every single day just calling strangers to talk with them about the potential of a home, and you hate it. You hate that about your thing. So hi, everybody. I'm Chad Thibodeau. I'm a real estate coach and a lead generation expert for realtors just like you, and I help you not only acquire a multiplicity of leads, but we help you get qualified leads, where these leads actually schedule phone calls on your calendar, so you become the hunted as opposed to hunter. Sound tempting? Sound enticing? Imagine waking up every morning. Okay, so I'm going to stop there at the end. Okay, so you see how I just pointed them in a direction? Now I'm pointing them all in the right direction, that we're all got the same goal, and that same goal is not just to get leads, but to get qualified leads where they're inbound, not outbound. Okay, so that's the direction that I want to send them. The reason why I got to move them toward that direction is because, which is the next point, which is called future pace. Okay, future pace. Okay, so are you with me? So we start with the relationship. Okay, all good copy is created, built, and expanded upon a good relationship. Then I find commonality, okay, with them. Then I move them toward the target. So I point them toward a direction, and then I future pace them. Okay, and I love to future pace them by using the word imagine. Okay, by using the word imagine. So imagine what it would be like to come to the office every morning and open up your Google Calendar and see 4 or 5 or 6 qualified leads of people who book themselves on your calendar, as opposed to you having to just start cold calling some random stranger. How much more could you convert if they called you as opposed to you calling them? How much more fun would your life be, okay, if you got to say hello as opposed to having to introduce yourself to some stranger? How much more fun would it be if, instead of getting hung up on 3 out of 4 phone calls, the people on the other end actually were interested in the American dream, and they believe that the only thing standing between them and their home is you? Are you following me? So see, that's future pacing. So now I'm future pacing. So copy that converts starts with relationship, okay? It's built. It's it's created, it's built, and expanded upon a relationship. Then we find the commonality with each other, okay? Then we point them toward a direction, and then we future pace them. So now we're beginning to think, okay? And then the fifth component is now that I've done those things, okay, we want a slight call to action, okay? We want a small call to action. It's not okay for me to say, so now give me $25,000. It's not okay, because the relationship is still fragile. But I've got to ask them to do something. Okay, I have to ask them to do something. So what I like to do is I like to this part here after future pace. It's just like get them to yes. That's what I call this one. Get them to yes. Get them to say yes on something. Okay, and so this is a micro call to action, or as Russell Brunson called this, called a trial close. So get them to say yes to something. So trial close is something like, how many of you would love that? Okay. And so the way that I like to do this trial close right here is by asking some questions, or asking at least a question. Okay. So question number 1 is a qualifying question, and here it is. Okay. It would be something like, excuse me. It would be something like, how many of you would like to learn the system? No, that's too big of one yes. How many of you would rather have calls booked on your calendar as opposed to having to call cold calls? How many of you would want that, right? So that's called getting them to yes. I'm just trying to get them to say yes. Another version of that would be like, are you guys getting this? Does this make sense? You guys understanding this? Okay, so that's a trial close. That's a get them to yes, okay? You just want them to say yes sometime in the process. So you built a relationship with them, you found commonality with them, which is really where you want. You pointed them in the right direction, you future pace them. Now you want to get them to say yes to something. The reason is because solid copy that converts understands that if I can get them to say yes to something micro, it's not going to take too much energy to get them to say yes to something macro. Okay, so I want to get them to yes. I want to trial close. Okay, now after trial, then I'm going to do what's called persuasion. Okay, persuasion. Okay, so how many of you would like to have 5 or 6, or how many of you would like to have calls that are booked on your calendar as opposed to you having to call strangers every single day off some lead list, right? And people, you're going to get them to say yes. Now, somewhere along the line here in good copy that converts, now what you want to do is you want to persuade them. So a solid persuasion statement, right here, a solid persuasion statement goes something like this. So in my Small Events, Big Profit program, my persuasion statement is create an event of 12 to 24 people and profit 6 figures in a weekend, right? So that's a persuasion statement. Okay, create an event of 12 to 24 people and profit 6 figures in a weekend. That's a solid persuasion statement. So if I'm going to do that in the form of a question, so I just got them to say yes to something. Now I want to come back. I want to ask them a persuasion question. I would say something like this. I would say, how many of you would like to have your very own event where if you could have 12 to 20, where you can invite simply 12 to 24 people and profit 6 figures in a weekend? How many of you would want that, right? So what I've done now is I future paced them. I got them to say yes, that I want to have something else. And now I can ask a persuasion statement to move forward. So in the real estate world, going back to our example, okay, we may be able to say something like, how many of you would like to have 5 to 7 qualified leads booked for you on your calendar every single day? So all you had to do was push a button, hop on Zoom, and your ideal client was on the other line. That's a persuasion question, okay? So I'm going to make a persuasion question right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them to raise their hand and say, yes, that's me. So because good copy Copy That Converts gets people to raise their hand, okay? So now I've gotten them to raise their hand and say, yes, that's me. Okay, they've been able to do it. Now what I want to do is I want to move to urgency, okay? So I've qualified them now through persuasion. Now I want to move to urgency. How many of you, if I could show you how to get 5 to 7 qualified leads booked on your calendar for you every single day, how many of you would want to start that sooner than later? Okay, that's urgency, right? So I can ask an urgency question right here. How many of you want that sooner or later? And then finally, then I want to go to some kind of scarcity. Okay, and then I can say, how many of you, if I had a program where I could work with 3, 4, 5 of you personally and showed you how I took my real estate business from $100,000 a year to multiple $1 million a year and never made a cold call in the last 2.5 years, and I could show you my entire process and system, how many of you would want to be one of those 3 or 4 people? Now what I've done is I've done scarcity with the qualification, and now I've gotten them to raise their hand and say, yes, I want that. Now I've gotten them to raise their hand and say, yes, I want that now. Now I've gotten them to raise their hand and say, yes, I want to be one of those people. Are you with me? So this is what makes copy convert is the psychological principles of persuasion that goes all the way back to the day that goes all the way back to where we build a relationship with people, and we build a relationship with them quickly by calling them out, identifying something, speaking to one of their frustrations, and finding commonality with them, letting them understand that I've been there with them. Then I can move them and point them in a direction. Then I can future pace them. Then I can get them to say yes. Then I can persuade them with my qualification, my scarcity, and my urgency question. Okay, now I can persuade them. And then finally, the final point of this formula, Copy That Converts, is now I want some kind of call to action. Now, there's other things you can put in there. You can put social proof in there, things like that. I'm just taking you through a basic flow of copy that would convert me and copy that would convert you. You can put some kind of call to action. So, hey, so hi everybody, I want to invite you to take just a moment. If you really believe that you're ready to get your real estate business to the next level, I really want to invite you to carve out 60 minutes of your day tomorrow and join me for a free training. And on this training, I'm going to blank, 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 and blank. Okay. And if you're really serious about getting your business to the next level, then click the button below and register, right? So you're going to do some kind of call to action there. And then the final component of this is simply what we call affirmation. Okay, affirmation. So affirmation is things like, you deserve this. If you don't deserve this, who does? You've worked hard enough for this. You deserve to keep, just some kind of affirmation to affirm them that they deserve what you're getting ready to give them. So that's a really good formula for Copy That Converts. Mark says, can you ask these kinds of micro commitments questions if you only have 1 or none or 2 people on the Facebook Live? Sure you can, because 90% of the people on your Facebook Live do not watch you live. 90% of people on Facebook Live watch you on demand. You sure can. Good question though. Mark wants to know, how can you double back to make sure you're on track? Well, there's not a right or wrong way here, Mark. The thing is your mid-level consulting package. I've launched my membership site and an ask funnel for ebooks, now planning Facebook Lives, but still feel like I'm falling behind. So one, I would tell you that's 3 different programs, like your mid-level consulting program, your membership site, and your ebook. That seems like it's 3 different things. Now you probably have done a really good job and aligned them to where they can ascend perfectly, which is really good. I would just tell you to pick one of them and throw all your eggs in the basket, right? So like if you're going to do a mid-level consulting package, then I would go back to that 7-day launch challenge, which I know you're in, do a syllabus based on your consulting package, do a series of Facebook Lives every single day, teaching them something about what you're going to be teaching in the consulting package, invite them on that call to get on a phone call with you on a breakthrough session. On that breakthrough session, ask them some really significant questions, and then invite them to be part of your program. You could do that. If you're finding yourself not getting many people on your Facebook Live, then I would really encourage you to do them a little bit more often, okay? And then I would really, really, really try to add more people to your Facebook. Can you ask these kinds of micro, if you get one saying yes, it doesn't look silly, No, why would it say silly?
Well,
Like,
I'm just asking because let's say, hey, can I have a shout out for anybody? And it's like crickets. That's all I was wondering.
no, no, just those are rhetorical questions.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have to be actual questions. If you got 50 people on a Facebook Live, make it an actual question. If you got one person on a Facebook Live, make it a rhetorical question. And rhetorical questions are not designed to be answered. Okay, rhetorical questions are just simply designed to be, answered internally. And so you just make it rhetorical.
Yeah.
Okay. So did that make sense? The whole copy that converts. Now we didn't get into headlines. We didn't get into persuasion statements. We didn't get into any of that. But what I wanted you to see is like just the psychological persuasion, the path that many of us go down in order to purchase something. Okay, so I'm sitting on a couch here that's getting ready to go back. And now I love this couch. Okay, I love it. Soft, squishy, like you sit back in it, you're like, oh, it's homemade, but you can't really tell. But it's red. It's like maroon. And I didn't buy a maroon couch. I bought a brown couch. Okay, but they delivered it. It's maroon, and I almost was tempted to just deal with it. But when I called customer service to tell them, hey, listen, the couch you delivered is maroon and I wanted a brown one. And on your showroom floor, you had a maroon one and you had a brown one. And I said I wanted a brown one, but you delivered the maroon one. And the customer service agency was like, well, yeah, that's just sort of luck of the draw. So luck of the draw, I was like, I'm not going to pay all that money for luck of the draw. I actually want a brown couch. And he's like, well, what do you want us to do? Like go through our warehouse and look through all those couches until we find a brown one?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I do. That would be a really good thing. And he was like, sir, we don't have time for that. Like these are the couches. These are the ones that we have. Some of them are stained, they're all the same color, but some hide makes them red and some hide makes them brown. You just get what you get. And I said, no, sir, I don't. I said, I paid a lot of money for this couch and I want it. So instead of like letting them fix it for me, I just decided to send the whole thing back. And I did business with another furniture company last night. The reason is because they did the opposite. They repelled me with their copy, with their words, right? This is what most of us do with their copy. Most of us, we repel people with our copy because if you go to the underlying fact of what that person said, what he basically said was, my company is more important than you are. You're just a client to us. You're not anybody really special. What do you want us to do? Go look through the warehouse till we find a brown one? Yeah, we don't have time for that. They put the company over the person. And unfortunately, we do this a lot with our copy. We don't even mean it. I posted an ad yesterday for not an ad, but a Facebook post yesterday for Small Event Big Profit. And I really want to take it down because I'm like, that's the worst copy I've ever read in my life. Like it's written okay, but it doesn't follow those ethical principles of persuasion. It's just not any good. It's just not any good. And so I need to go back to the drawing table and follow that formula that I just got you, because then what it does is it makes it about them, not about me. If that person in customer service would have come back and said, oh, Mr. Thibodeau, I'm so sorry. Hey, really the only option that we have right now is we can go through the warehouse and we can unwrap 3, 4, 5 couches and see if we can find you, Brown. We're happy to do that. We don't really have time today to do that, but hey, I promise you within the next 7 days we can do that. Would you like us to do that? We typically don't do it for our clients, but if you would like, I'm happy to do that. Would you like that? I probably would have said? That's way too much hassle. I'm just going to deal with this one. I probably would have just done that. But because they made it about them, it repelled me. And so the same thing happens with your copy. When your business is about you, as opposed to your business being about them, it actually psychologically repels people. It repulses people, actually. And so you got to be really careful. You got to be really careful with that. Okay. All right. So that's my teaching on content today. What can I help you guys with your businesses?
Hey, Chad.
Go ahead, bud.
So I am, I've been kind of like, I took a step back and had a bit of a refocus and was like, right, what's actually bringing in the money and creating the biggest ROI? And I was like, well, it's the webinar bots because they're the high ticket.
Yeah. I
think that my only concern with those is so I'm thinking about doing more joint venture partnerships to kind of get people into that. Should I be creating some kind of lead in towards that, or should it be focused more on just guiding people because obviously it's like it's a minimum of 5K. So, or should it be focused more on like building those joint venture partnerships and just doing all the focus on that?
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about JVs, okay? So the benefit of JVs is that you have access to people that you wouldn't have access to without them. Okay, such a huge benefit. Another huge benefit is the power of weak ties. Okay, when they brag on you, it's more powerful than when you brag on you. Okay, another benefit is instant social proof. They're not going to do a joint venture with you unless they believe in you, so therefore they're going to endorse you and give you social proof immediately, right? So those are the three big benefits of joint ventures right off the bat. You typically can sell faster. That's another benefit. Sell quicker. There are some downfalls. First and foremost, you got to give away half your profit. Okay, that's a huge downfall to joint ventures. Another downfall to joint ventures is it's not difficult for those relationships to go sour and for one of the two parties to renege on what was they offered. Another one is if typically when you bring something to the table and they bring something to the table, if your stuff is great and their stuff sucks, they're probably going to want refunds, because not based on anything that you gave them, but based on what the other person gave them. So there are some negatives to joint ventures. If I was you, you're getting a really good reputation to being the bot guy, okay? And you, a little bit like me, ascended to the ranks relatively quickly, okay? Now, most of the world doesn't know who Paul Ace is.
No.
But you have a significant group of people who do, right? I would probably tell you that you probably have $250,000. If you're at $5,000, you probably have $250,000 sitting out there right now that Paul could just do as Paul. Okay. If you could figure out how you could communicate a potential ROI for your client. So if you could show them how, when you invest $5,000 in the messenger bots, here's how this is going to add $25,000, $35,000, $45,000, $50,000 to your bottom line. If you could communicate that and you could do that well, I would probably tell you to not do joint ventures right off the bat, because you're going to give away too much of your bottom line. Okay. Whereas a lot of these folks would hire you immediately if they knew who you were. My gut tells me that you still have a lot of work to do, right? So do you have a lead magnet right now?
I've got the Bot Hacker Academy that I've just done. So basically now I've got a 3-day trial that people can have on that for free, and they get full access to my course and everything.
Do you have an article that says 7 ways a messenger bot can 10x your income in the next 30 days?
I've got a 10 a checklist with 10 things for high converting bots.
Okay.
As well.
Come up with an article, do a Facebook Live that says, you can change the content, but it would be something like 7 ways you can use messenger bots to 10x your income in the next 30 days, or to double your income, or to add 10,000, whatever, right? That is highly intriguing for me, because one of the things that we all wonder is, how can I use bots? Bots are still sort of unknown because we don't really know how we can use them in our business. And the stuff out there that I read on messenger bots aren't really done from people who do a very good job with messenger bots. Like ManyChat has something out there. There's another one, RealChat or whatever it's called. They do some, but the Paul Aces of this world, people that I actually would love to talk with and invest in, they're not coming up with stuff. So I would do like a lead magnet and a lead magnet. I'd write a 2,500 word article. Like when you come to Orlando, we're going to do this together, but I'd write a 2,500 word article around that. I'd send that to Entrepreneur Magazine. I'd send that to Funnel Magazine. I'd become like, literally for the next 10 days, I would do nothing but just write stupid cool copy. Okay. And just get known as the bot guy immediately. Okay. And write that. I would probably risk a couple $1,000 and drive traffic to that lead magnet if I were you, just to build your list quickly. And then I would probably create a 5 to 7 step email sequence and bot sequence to warm that audience up, just to move them into that relationship category. Okay. So here's what I would do if I were you. This is my $250,000 business plan. I would write my significant lead magnet. I'd write my 2,500 word article. Okay. And then I would be just like you do a lot of, I would be on a podcast every single day. But when I'm on that podcast, and you may have this already, I'm giving them something immediately. Like I'm giving them this not checklist, but I'm giving them this article, 7 ways that podcast or that messenger bots can 10x your income in the next 30 days. I'm going to give them that. I'm going to give them my video series. I'm going to give them my masterclass. I'm going to give them something so I can draw those people into my thing. And then probably what I'm going to be, if I were you, what I would do is I would be doing webinars every week, like literally every week, just a live. And I think you do most of this, like a live demonstratable webinar every single week. And at the end of it, invite people to be part of you. I would make your messenger bot services $10,000. Okay. And part of the plan right now is if you guys are interested, I can show you how to do this. And I even have a promo code where you can get my services for 50% off.
Okay.
That makes sense. So I would do that. And then until I hit $250,000 in revenue. The only JVs that I would be doing right now are JVs with people with audiences of 5,000 to 10,000 people or more.
Yeah, and that. So my concern is the webinar bots only work for someone who's already got a profitable webinar.
Mm-hmm.
So it can't be for someone who goes, oh yeah, like can you make my webinar convert? Because that's a different kettle of fish. So I have to then to show them the ROI.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like the last couple that we've done, I took someone from a 12% show rate to an 84% show rate.
Damn.
Yeah, and someone else opt-in rates from I think 40% to 82%, and show rates from 65 to 84.
Perfect.
So that in itself, like I just need to be working with the right people. So that's why I was considering the joint ventures. So
I'm going to give you a lead source that you probably have never heard of.
Okay.
And then you're going to give me $1 million when I show you this.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah. No, not yet.
This is EverWebinar, right?
Yeah.
So when you come into EverWebinar and you sign up here, sign in. Let's see if I can figure this out.
I think I know where you're heading and I haven't utilized it enough.
And you go here, then they've got this, little.
They've got a portal with like loads of everyone's on demand webinars, haven't they?
Yeah, they got all those webinars. Like, come on, I got to get this stuff out of the way here. Here we go. So they've got like, I can't remember where it's at.
That one.
Webinars on demand. And this is a list of every freaking webinar, every one of them. Okay. Oh, I would hire a $10 an hour VA to reach out to every single one of these people and have them personalize it, like something like open this up here, like well, I don't know what happened with that one.
Yeah, I think you've got to be logged in or something, but that's okay.
Oh, you see what I'm saying? I'd have them reach out to every single one of those people and say, hey, I registered for your webinar the other day. Super cool. Sounds like you're doing wonderful things. Hey, I'm curious. I'm doing a little bit of research. I do messenger bots for people with webinars, and we've been able to see show up rates, get as high as 84%. I'm curious to know what your show up rate was, right? And then use that, like, because you can build a relationship and find some commonality with that. I would use that to target people like who are already doing what you're doing. And I'd have a VA go in there and schedule people a phone call with you. Like, hey, if you whatever, if you're doing such and such, like, you can qualify, or he can qualify them for you and get them on a phone call. But I would, man, and until I get $250,000, bro, I don't think I would do VA or JV. Excuse me.
JV, yeah, that's all right.
Now, once again, if Russell Brunson comes to you and says, hey, you want to do a JV? Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a guy that I've just done one for, the actual webinar bot, and he said to me, if you want to partner up with something else, and he's got an email list of 26,000.
Sure. Those are great.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
makes.
But the ones with 500 people on their email list or
Oh no, I
1,000
wouldn't.
people.
I'm not looking for that anyway.
Yeah.
I'm already. I'm speaking in Ireland as well the week after I come back from Orlando, at the Marketing Alliance Affiliate Summit.
You and Declan Mack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be there.
Oh yeah. Oh, wicked.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're gonna have like 10 days together, Chad.
He's trying.
Like, he walked away like, oh no.
He's trying hard, man. He's trying
I
hard.
know
to get me.
he kept saying to me, ask Chad.
Yeah, he's trying.
So yeah, my point is those guys love a good offer.
Yeah.
So my other question would be, what kind of price point should I be go? I mean, am I going in too cheap at 5K?
Well, so just show them what the percentage is, right? So show them what. See, the thing is with yours, you actually have an opportunity to go in for a price and a revenue share, right?
Yeah.
So you could say, like, it's $5,000 plus 10% of revenue built.
Yeah.
That's generated from this bot. Now, that's not going to work for you with webinars that move to appointments.
Yeah.
So like somebody's doing a phone call, like an app, that's not going to work for you.
Because you can't track.
Because you can't track it, right? But you could also, you have very any type of lead generation. You have a lot of flexibility. I just go find out like what other people are charging. So like, Rita Vega?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rita lives right here in my backyard. When Rita first moved here, she was charging, I think, a couple $100. Now she's like $7,500. Right, to do bots, right? So just find out what the industry charges. The thing is, you're good, right? I mean, if you suck, that's one thing, but you're really good. And so if I was good, then I'm only working with the elite.
Yeah.
Right. If I was good, like if I wanted to be known as the guy, like the elite guy, then actually, you know what I'm doing, Paul? Actually, to be honest with you, I'm reaching out to Rachel Peterson. I'm reaching out to Akbar Sheikh. I'm reaching out to whoever, some of the bigger names in the ClickFunnels world, and saying, hey, I have a reputation of being one of the best bot people out there. I'd love to build a bot for your webinar. All I ask in return is you do a video testimony if you like my work. If you don't like my work, then don't do that.
I'm doing that with John Lee Dumas.
Yeah.
I've got him
Here's
on
the thing
my.
with John Lee Dumas, though. Okay, you better get a video testimony on him because the dude's a freaking tightwad.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know a gal who did his videos, all of his video bumpers, and for the longest time wouldn't do a testimony for her. And I know a gal who got him into shape because he and his best friend Nick Unsworth, they were doing this bodybuilding contest, and she's the one who worked with him. Didn't pay her a penny, didn't give her a testimonial, didn't give her nothing. And so I'm like, dude, so you got to get that out of him.
I've done it in a clever way though, because so I'm going to build the basic part of the webinar bot for him, and then he's on Build My Bot Friday on my Facebook live show, so I can literally ask him about the results on the show.
Oh, that's nice, and you can record it. Yeah. Are you going to be on EO Fire?
No, not yet. I've got to work that relationship a little bit more first.
Okay.
But I've also got Colton Croatinger going on the.
Colton's good. Yeah. Colton doesn't have a huge following. Colton's a really good guy, but he doesn't have a huge following.
Not yet.
Right. But you know who does is his business partner, James Smiley.
That's the plan.
Right. Yeah. So, and James is a good guy. You could get in there, and James will do stuff for you because he's a worker. But I would even go like reach out to Liz Benny. Like I can make a connection with you. Reach out to people because like people you're talking like John Lee Dumas is good. That's a great one. But people like Colton has got hundreds of maybe low thousands of followers. People like Liz Benny have like 40, 50, 60,000 followers, right? That's the audience that you want. And they're really good people as well. And the thing that you learn about people as they ascend to that level, they don't want to pay for squat. Because they've just learned to be really frugal. And they're like, well, I don't know that you can do it better than I can. So therefore, why would I pay you to do it, right? But if you do it and you blow them away, they will get you a ton of business.
Yeah. With those people that are in the middle.
Yeah. So I would just help. Like I would just go help them get three. Like if you got a Liz Benny endorsement and a James Smiley endorsement, an Akbar Sheikh endorsement, and a Rachel Peterson endorsement, and a whatever endorsement in this world, you would never be hungry again.
Yeah, that's definitely yeah.
Yeah. And then something else, Paul, that I'd really tell you is just really work on your marketing. Okay. Build your brand solidly. Like if you're not the most elite messenger bot delivery guy in the history of the world, I would make sure that my website confused the heck out of me, because, that's what I would build my platform out. You need to be much bigger than what you are, because
Right.
you will ascend to that level quickly. Okay. So go to Influex, influex.com. Look at some of the cool guys on there. Build a site that looks like that. Build a funnel that looks like that. Create that kick-ass lead magnet, because that's what everybody wants to know. 7 ways messenger bots can 10x your business, and whatever. Make sure that you have clickable links in there. And then reach out to people. I go to Webinar Jam, reach out to all those people. And every one of those platforms, like EverWebinar, all that good stuff, they all have cool stuff like that. And so, yeah. All that to tell you, I wouldn't do JVs unless there are 25,000 people or more.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
You've given me a lot.
Okay. Okay. See what anybody's saying on Facebook.
I'll take you up if I'm not monopolizing anybody else's time, or somebody else wants a question.
I have a quick one.
Okay. Well, Keeler, go ahead, jump in if you want to go ahead. Chad, you rightly point out that you got to definitely pick your battles and something like these kinds of things. And you're right. I did try to aim as much as possible to align my funnel process, my funnel strategy, that one progressively leads into another. At least that's the hope and the strategy.
Right.
Thus far, I've been putting, just because of a lot of anecdotal experience in the past, more of my, not 100%, but more of my time behind a membership funnel. There's like an online association of people who are board directors and that. And I've been using LinkedIn, a lot of groups that are about board governance and those kinds of things that I'm a member of, and reaching out to a lot of them. It's been very active in that, and probably in the neighborhood of a few thousand or something like that. I'm on like a machine on this, and I'm wondering, after perhaps about 2 weeks of time, what in your opinion is a good opt-in rate if it's like you're talking about, like real cold, like frozen cold?
So a decent opt-in rate with frozen cold is going to be 5 to 8%.
Okay, I'm logging in around 2, so I'm obviously sucking.
Yeah. And so, but what are you doing to move them from cold to warm?
I've been doing a lot of, on LinkedIn, I've been doing a lot of like just offering a lot of value, and directly, it's been very indirect pitching.
Yeah.
It's just been putting up some articles, and you want to take a look at this resource. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
Frankly, the ask funnel has been converting horribly, but I thought that the hope of it would be that at least it would be there to add a no pitch value. It's because there's a free tutorial depending on what you answer on this. But my hope, at least at this point in time, would be that the membership funnel would have been picked up. It's depending, $99 if for a year if you go without a free trial. If you go with the free trial, and $73 right off the bat if you say skip it. I did sell, which I was happy with. And
how many did you sell?
Last week I put it out to my warmer list, and I've sold probably about $400 worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I still think that's going to be a long struggle for you, because I don't know how to say this kindly, so I'm just going to say it. And I know I'll trust you won't get offended on it. But as I've said a million times, okay, it's much easier to sell a $25,000 package than it is a $2,500 package.
Yeah.
You have to be more of an expert to sell a $99 product than you do a $9,999 product. The reason is, in order to make a living off a $99 product, you got to sell to masses.
Yeah.
Only massively known experts can do that. So I still think that I am creating a high ticket offer to these organizations. And I am building a streamline of content around my high ticket offer. And I'm teaching my little heart out. I'm building relationships with all of these nonprofit organizations and board members and stuff like that. I'm building a relationship to them. And I'm doing my best to get my butt in front of them. And when I get in front of them, I have a solid conversational pitch to give them. I think I'm just doing that. And I think I'm trying to do 5, 6, 7 pitches a week, okay, in order to try to make a sale. I just think that you're long-term, you're going to be better off doing that, because when you're trying to target board members of nonprofits, how do you target them? You know, a lot of people don't advertise that they're board members of nonprofits.
And it's a very hard one. I think I managed to crack the nut on that, but they are a skeptical bunch.
Right. Because a lot of times these nonprofits that are hurting, they don't even necessarily know they're hurting. They may know that they're treading water. They may know that they're not getting the potential that they want. So your content has got to pick that scab, right? Are you getting, 20 to 30 brand new members every single week? If not, here's 6 reasons why. And then write an article on it. Do volunteers seem to go to the organization down the street and skipping you by? If so, then here's 4 reasons why that's probably happening and what you can do about it, right? So you got to write content based around what their needs and frustrations could be. Do you have dysfunction in your you can say something like, is there friction between your staff and your board at your nonprofit and you're not quite sure why? Well, here's 4 things that are probably wrong with your governance, right?
Yeah.
You gotta write content all the time to prove that you're an expert in your field. And then the right people will pick that up. And then you can target books, the Carver Method, Kaiser Method, target those books on Facebook, people who like that stuff, people who like John Carver, John Kaiser, just go for it. I would tag the heck out of those people in my writings. I'd quote them in my writings and tag them on Facebook, okay? And I think, in my opinion, that's going to get you a lot further than trying to sell a $99 book. That's just my opinion. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys, you got time for a couple more.
All right, I have a quick one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I did a business shift after my last weekend. So with that, it's just I want to know how to reach to those clients that I want to get to that level. So with my new shift, it's almost kind of what piggy off of what you do. But my whole thing is I want to be the behind the scenes person at the VIP events, helping the client with everything.
Yeah, and there's a huge business for that, Akila, a huge business for that one. Okay, and so because one of the frustrations that we all have when we do events is there's just a lot of details. We get stuck in the details a lot, and here's where your initial struggle is going to be. People who are large enough to host large events probably have a team. Mm-hmm. And if they don't have a team, they probably have the funds to outsource to a third-party organization. So the type of person you're going to be going towards is people like me and below, okay? And the downside to that is it's going to be difficult for you to charge a ton of money, because how much money do you want to charge?
The way I did it with her was $360 a day.
$360 a day?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, sign me up all day, every day.
Yeah, I know I got yelled at.
Yeah, that's probably way too cheap. $360 a day is not a lot of money. You're not going to make a living at that. You'd have to do one every week, maybe twice a week, or if you make a living. So I would reach out to I'd find out what other people are doing. So there's a girl by the name of, I think her name is Amanda Jones. For you to charge a ton of money. How much money do you want to charge? Hold on. I can't remember what her name is. I'll find it for her. But she does this for people. She's $5,000 a day. Okay.
Mm.
And she handles everything, right? So they don't have to worry about anything. They show up and teach is all they do. And she's handling the logistics for the clients that are coming in. She's handling, coordinating all the vendors. She's handling the food. She's handling the schedule. She handles everything, right? And that's a huge weight off the shoulders of event planners, but she's really expensive. Okay. So what I would tell you is go study people like that. Okay. And then figure out how you can get into it. And then the nice thing is there's an uprise into events. And so like I'd be at the small event, big profit event. Like there was a girl named Lisa. Have you met Lisa?
No.
So Lisa came to our small event, big profit, and did a very similar pitch to that. And I want to say out of the 14 potential paid people there, she got like 8 of them as clients. Okay. And so it's much easier for you to find people when they're on that side of thank you. On that side of the event. What I would tell you, hey, can I get some more of this? What I would tell you is Paul was talking about JVs earlier. This is a great JV opportunity for you because not a JV opportunity, but more of an affiliate opportunity. Because if you can work with somebody and you can do a really good job with them, then you could help all of their clients. You could help the people that they know, and if they got a kickback what you're doing, or if you just gave their clients a discount, that would be a really good opportunity for you. Okay, I'm going to tell you that you need to increase your rates drastically.
Yeah, I talked to Latasha and she kind of said no, that's too low.
Yeah, because you got to figure out like what all you're going to do, right? Like once you figure out your game plan as far as what you're going to do, then you can reach out to but you also have to be an asset to an event planner.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a liability. Okay, nobody wants somebody just going to drain money from them. Right. So what I would want to know is how can you take the pressure off of me, and then in the end, how is this going to help me make more money?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's a huge deal. And so, yeah, I think what I would do if I were you, I would, thank you. I'd work on my product offering. I'd make sure it's rock solid, make sure it's something that people would want. I'd probably be a lot more higher in my rates. Okay. And then, I'd go to town, because if you came in and helped me out with small event with profit, right? So that's 3 days. So you're going to charge me $1,000, right? For 3 days. And then what do you do for me for that $1,000?
I would take care of all your needs for you for their, whatever runs you need. If any of your guests at the venue need anything that's not there at the house, I will leave the house, take care of all that for you. If you need help setting up, I would take care of all the setup for you, to help you plan out the scheduling for the event for you. Make sure all the guests are taken care of, any questions needed. If there's anything between the place of the business and yourself, I will handle all the needs and be the middleman person to connect with you and let you know everything that's handled and going on.
So what you're going to have to do, Akila, is you're going to have to rework that content, because just like we're talking copy that converts earlier today, you're going to have to be able to rewrite that and not say if. Because you're sounding a little bit like a glorified gopher.
Right, that's interesting.
And a glorified gopher is now you're too much money, because I can hire my 14-year-old daughter or my 17-year-old son, right? Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is you want to be able to position yourself from a content standpoint, like, I will provide customized concierge services for every one of your clients. I will give them the red carpet treatment, make sure that their travel arrangements are set, make sure, like, bullet point everything you'll do for them. I'll make you look like a rock star, okay, to all of your clients. I'll give them the customer experience that they've always wanted, right? I will handle all of the logistics of the venue, right, to make sure that the audio-visual team is set to go. Make sure that all your needs for staging is right. Make sure the seating's like you got to think through exactly what it is you're going to do, and speak to an event planner or speak to an event organizer using verbiage that tickles their ears, right? Because if not, you're just going to speak in the unknown. Like, well, I don't know what things are going to come up. Well, what if nothing comes up? Did I just blow all my money on this Aquila girl and I didn't really need her?
Mhm.
Right. So you gotta be able to communicate in a manner that's appealing to me.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. I think once you do that, then you're probably going to be somewhere between the $800 and $1,200 range per day would be my guess.
Mhm.
Now, if you're handling food and all that stuff, you could even be a little bit more. But you could be like a flat 2,500 for the event, something like that. And but just process that. As far as make sure you know exactly what you're going to do for somebody. I would find 3 or 4 other people who do what you do, and see if you can get a list of their description, their job description.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys, time for one more. All right, beautiful people. Well, hey, fun times ahead. Keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully this week everything gets settled down. Hopefully we can get back in our studio, which would be great. Our furniture will be in today. We scheduled a pool party for this weekend to sort of push us a little bit to help us get done. And so hopefully that will work. But yeah, we're back up on our feet. Thank goodness. All the flu bug is almost out of our home. So that's really nice. But if you guys need anything throughout the week, just reach out. God bless.